This is the fifth incarnation of this production. But what we really looked at was there were aspects of the original show that I wasn't entirely happy with, or I felt could be further elaborated. So we brought in the talents of this very wonderful artist, Clea Menaker, whose work I saw at a Feist concert. She was doing live projections, shadow play, and overhead projections to Feist's live work. And I just was transfixed by what I was seeing on stage. And I thought that's someone I'd love to collaborate with. So she's really worked on the Dance of the Seven Veils, which is probably the most famous striptease in opera history. But it's in this production, it was always used as a way of gaining some insight into Salome's state of mind, like what leads her to this extraordinary act of violence, asking for the head of the man that she's obsessed with. So we're thinking that there's something else going on in this family, in her background, and the music of the Dance of the Seven Veils is used as a way of accessing that. It's almost like this huge flashback. So the first presentation began to explore this idea, but this one really takes it much further, and I'm very excited by that addition. And that ripples through the whole show. I mean, that some of the images that we're seeing then are supported by a whole new choreography and staging as well. So the actual dance itself is completely live. I mean, we have not only a singer, but we also have a team of shadow makers as well. So I think it's because the orchestra there is so loud, you may not actually hear all the noise of the dancer and the crew that are supporting her, but it's all live. Nothing of that is pre-recorded. In a traditional presentation of Salome, it's referred to as a biblical court. So there are all these courtesans and guards and various people who are there. And in this one, it's stripped away, and we're in the antechamber of some strange sanatorium. And we have these guards, but everything is being, there's surveillance everywhere. And it supports this idea of Herod's paranoia. And so everything that's happening outside of his immediate view is being taped and it's being recorded. So that's a heavy sort of sub-theme in the piece because it's dealing with voyeurism as well. I mean, there's this idea of Salome looking at Johannahan, who won't return her gaze, but then you have this character Nerboth who's in love with Salome and she won't return his gaze. Then you have another character, the page, who's in love with Nerboth and he won't return her gaze. So you have all this idea of frustrated desire and voyeurism, people looking at something that they can't actually have. That's woven through the piece. I think it's there in Oscar Wilde's libretto. I think the music certainly supports this idea of turbulence and paranoia and these very, very extreme emotions. But in the production, we're also trying to support that visually. I do think it's probably one of the best introductions to opera imaginable. I've invited many people to see this who have never seen an opera, and they're all quite thrilled because, first of all, it's an hour and a half, so it's not like inviting them to Wagner, which is like 4 hours, or it's never boring. It's a very tight libretto. It's an extremely exciting piece of music, and we all know the storyline. We all know, what happened. So I kind of, weirdly enough, equated it to one of my favorite musicals, was Jesus Christ Superstar. So we all kind of know the story, and we can just kind of like see what the artists do with it. And you can see what Oscar Wilde and Strauss have done with this subject matter is just so exciting. And you're really... And I think I can say, I mean, I'm not just speaking for my work, I think I'm working with this amazing team. Opera is a team effort, and I think what the team has come up with here is really a very exciting show. And then add to that, this amazing orchestra and what Johannes Debus is doing in this pit. And what we're all excited about is this is the first time we're hearing it here at the Four Seasons. And the city has been blessed with this building. I mean, acoustically, it's perfect.